and welcome to another episode of The Big Idea. I'm so glad that you decided to join us. I'm your host, Jason Seymour. I'm the spokesperson for the U.S. mission to ASEAN. The U.S. mission started this show because we know that Southeast Asia is filled with so many young leaders who have had big ideas, and they have turned these big ideas into a reality. And we have one very special guest who has had so many big ideas and turned them into films, documentaries. I'm very excited to introduce our guest for today, who is Lamtiar Simorangkir. Please join the show, TR.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
Good, TR. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here. And
thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And I just have to point out to the audience that we became friends very quickly because TR's second name is similar to my family name. So we already have things in common and we're good friends. So Lamtiar, or TR, the first thing I'd like you to do is to tell everyone a little bit about the US government program you were part of, a very special program we have called the American Film Showcase.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. American Film Showcase, it is a program for a filmmaker, especially emerging filmmaker. So in 2017, I was just finished make my very first film. It was a short film called Brighter. And one of the staff of the embassy saw the film in one of the festival in Jakarta. And he told me, wow, it's a good film. Would you like if we nominated you to our program? And I said, that sounds a good program as long as I don't have to pay. Just go ahead. And then they nominated me and I'm selected from Indonesia. So they selected 14 emerging filmmaker from Southeast Asia. So I was like, wow, I'm selected from Indonesia, and it was my first film, and it's a very good program. Thank you, American Film Showcase and U.S. Embassy.
And part of this American Film Showcase, it's a special program where we find artists, directors, people who want to work in the film industry, and we just fill you up with lots of different skills and all the complexities of making a film, which, as you know, a lot goes into creating a show. So Brighter was your first film.
Yes.
And you didn't come from a family of lots of people who had connections in the film industry. They didn't have a million US dollars to give you so you could make your first film. So how did you go from wanting to make a film to actually making a film? Tell our audience a little bit about your story and how you got started in the film, in the business of making films.
Wow, the answer to that question is very long, very long story. Yeah, but okay, but I'll make long story become short. So yeah, it's very interesting question, Jason. And if my education background is from economic faculty, so it has nothing to do with film. So but since I was child, I remember I really love watch film. So I was born and grew up in a small village in North Sumatra, and I remember in that area television only like a few television, so I have to watch TV to the neighbor, so but I really like to watch movie in television, even though it was in English and I don't understand what they are saying, but there is something I like about movie. And I remember since I was very young age, I remember like every time I finish watch film, I'm thinking like, oh, why the ending like that? Why the story like that? But I didn't know that it was the head of a director. I didn't know. I had no idea. And then I like to write story, you know, but unfortunately, Jason, I was raised in well, we can say like poor family, you know,
Mhm.
and even sometimes to get food is hard. So my parents was busy like to raise the kids, you know, how to feed the kids. So they didn't have time like to see what is the talent of their children, you know. So no one noticed that why I love movie, why I love watching film. uh, um, so and then we raised, you know, because we are in a poor family, that we raise with the value that you have to work hard, study hard, so and then later you're not going to be poor like us, like the parents. So my missions, you know, since I was child, only like how to fight this poorness, you know, so I will not be poor when I was grow up. So then I work hard, sorry, I study hard, and then I'm so lucky I was able to go to university, and and then I graduate, and then I came to Jakarta, and then find job, you know, just like regular people, and then get job, and then I start slowly. I have, you know, like, you know, I have money, I have a settled job, you know, I can rent house in Jakarta, I have car, you know. But and then something like in my heart, like I really want to make film. I wanted to know how it's feel like to make film, you know. So I still, there's something in my heart, like there's something I need to do, but I don't know how to do, because by the time I didn't know that there is a film school, and then I don't know how to get a job, a film job, you know. And then in 2010, uh, I didn't like actually social media, but I create my Facebook only for
Mhm.
one purpose. I want to find people who works in film, you
Mhm.
know. So and then for 1 year until 2011, when I saw in Facebook people work in film, I said, hey, I want to work in film, I write story, how can I get the job in the film? And turn out I found out that there's no like job vacation for film. So they said, if you want to start, just find a film project and then apply for a intern. So and then
Mhm.
I ask people like, can you make me your intern? I even can pay, you know, because I have job, I have money, and I said, I can pay you to make me your intern, you know. So and then I remember in 2011 I met someone in Facebook, and she is production manager in a film project. It was a big film production in Indonesia. And she said, oh yeah, we are looking for internship, production assistant. If you want to join us, I can hire you, but we will start next week, and then you have to fly to Semarang. I said, yes, yes, yes. And that's how it goes.
Wow, you were passionate and you had a dream and you just didn't give it up. Now, I just
and
have to
and
say,
it was happened, I already, I think 33, it was 33. So, you know, like I was like, no, I have to do it. But part of my heart said, what are you looking for? You are too old now to start, right? So
mm,
and you had job, what are you looking for? But I said to myself, I have to do it, I have to do it.
wow, and that was really risky, and it is harder as you get older to take those chances, and especially you were in a solid job and you had income and everything was really comfortable. So it took a lot to take
Yes.
that gamble, to take a risk and listen to your heart. Wow. I do want to pause just for a moment and say to the audience, one of one of the initiatives of the US government and the US mission to ASEAN is to start the Waisili program, which is Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, We have a network. We recommend that if you're listening to this program, that you join the network. We have lots of mentors on all kinds of topics, because I agree with you, TR. If you want to get started with a new career, you need mentors. You need people to show you how to do X, Y, or Z. So you finally had your chance. And then you made this program, which you mentioned, which was Brighter. How did you get the funds to make that program? How did that process work, or make
Yeah,
that film?
yeah. It has connection with the community we have. It's called Lamhoras Film. It used to be Lamhoras Production. So in 2016, I start a film community named this Lamhoras Production. So this is a community as a result of my concern, which was why so many good film out there, but not many that raise important social issue in our society. So I plan to make a short film, which is Brighter. So actually, Brighter, it's criticizing the inequality of women's rights in Indonesia, basically. So it was a narrative film. So before, Jason, the funny thing is I really don't like documentary.
Oh,
So I'm a fan of narrative film or fiction film.
uh-huh.
So I gathered some filmmaker friends. I told them my idea, and some friends agreed to help to make the film collaboratively, which means no one get paid. So
Right.
we make the film in the spirit that we want to make something that has meaning for society. So this community is not like other community that has a permanent member. Anyone who are willing to help, willing to give their time, their effort, and most importantly, their heart, right? So
Mhm.
if they, all of them are welcome. So the idea is to make film outside our main job. So outside our main job, voluntarily with social change as a goal. So that's very simple. So when we have time, we want to make a film, just a short film. So as a filmmaker, we want to give something to society through what we good at, which is make film. So we don't have money, we are not rich people, but we thinking what we can do. So that's how it started. We make Brighter, we work collaboratively. That's how it's done. And then during the release, we got help from a Netherlands embassy. So we released the film with the Netherlands embassy. So that's how it goes. And then it's continue. We have screening with people, with community. We have discussion with young girls, and then some activists also attending some of our screenings, and that's how we stumble to the information. We met children rights activists that told us that so many children being born and raised behind bars. That's how, and then we start Invisible Hopes.
Mm-hmm. Which is your current film. You're wearing a T-shirt that has the words "Invisible Hopes." Yes, and as you were saying, you are a filmmaker and you want your films to have an impact on your community, on society, hopefully even the world, which brings us to your current project, which is Invisible Hopes. So please share with our audience a little bit more about this film.
Yeah, Invisible Hopes is a film. As we know, this is the very first film in Indonesia that tell the untold story about the life of children who are born to inmates' mother that have to live and become invisible victims behind bars in Indonesia. So this film, we start the research in 2017. So in 2017, when we were screening Brighter, and then we got information, this activist told me that so many children being born and raised behind bars, and I was like, what? Because I didn't know before that children being born and raised behind bars, and I said, is it true? Like, yeah, and the number is it's so many children. And I said, okay, we have to do the research. So I gather again my friends who were helped me make the Brighter, but all of them was busy with their job, with their main job. So I asked another friends, and I found one. I found one friend who willing to help. So actually, Invisible Hopes was started with only 2%. So we do research, and during the 2017 we have workshop from American Film Showcase. I actually already start the research, and like you said before, Jason, they have so many mentors, and I asked them about my project, and then like I said before, I really don't like documentary. I really don't like documentary. For me, documentary is very boring. It's only interview, very boring. But and then during the workshop, I found out, and then I got so many information, and so many interesting documentary. So I was like, wow, it's different, you know. It's not only interview. So many documentary film feels like a fiction, you know, but it's real. So and then I remember my mentor at the American Film Showcase. They said they called me and they said, TR, you have to pursue your filmmaking in documentary, and we think you are good in it. And I said, wow, like wow. So, and then we continue to research the Invisible Hopes. And then uh, my friend and I, actually, Jason, initially, we wanted to make it only like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The goal is only to tell people, to inform people that these children are exist, you know, so that's all. As simple as that. But once we have advanced research, we have shooting, and then we see that this problem is very complex, their condition is very not human, and then we think that, oh, if 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it will not be enough to show this very complex situation. So it's become a feature, and a feature film.
We're going to pause for a moment, TR, because I want our audience to see the trailer for this great film. Before I do, I just want to let our audience know, please, if you have a question for TR, enter it in the chat room or in the comment section below, because TR is here not just to answer my questions, and I have plenty. I can easily fill up 2 hours with TR, but I'd love to share one of your questions with TR. So please, if you have one, share it with us. But let's pause for a moment and show your trailer. So I know my assistant has it ready to go.
Menjatuhkan pidana penjara terhadap terdakwa selama 8 tahun dan denda sebesar 1 miliar rupiah. Mana saya sama lagi? Enggak, kalau dijeblosin begini. Udah dibuktiin, dijeblosin lagi. Bawa masuk kata-kata bapaknya tidak habis. Iya, pada nggak tanggung jawab di siaran. Ntar pulang cari bapak baru. Banyak. Cuma kurang bapak.
Khayalnya sih lagi makan buah pir.
15 dewasa, anaknya 3, udah pengap nih. Kalau bisa ya dikasih kamar yang lebih besar, biar anaknya nggak keringetan, biar ada hawanya.
Anak begini mah, anak sabu mah, ini mbak, aku sebenarnya nggak bisa diem.
Kadang aku kesel sama orang gitu, jadi emosinya kayak Iki. Mungkin karena sakit hati juga kali sama bapaknya dia ya.
Baca dong. Sudah berapa kali Anda cukup 1 kali? Cukup 1 kali.
Ayo pekerjaan sendiri pakai, Pak.
Sendiri, sebelah sabu pemakai.
Wow, those are some very powerful images. Now,
you.
As a filmmaker, how did you get access to the prisons, to these imprisoned women? How did that process work?
It's very hard and took some times, but we got some help. And you know, at the time when we looking for the permission to the shooting, it's really hard because we are just community which is unknown community, right? We are not like this big production house. You don't have money. You know, we only have willingness. So I try because through the screening of Brighter, I met with many activists, and also National Commission, sorry, how to say in English, National Commission on Violence Against Women in Indonesia also screened the film Brighter. So, and then it's make me know with some of the commissioner, but the previous one, not the current one. And then I called them, I said, hey, I wanted to make a film about children behind bars. Can you help us, you know, like getting the permission? And then they said they could not help, but like it's like they introduce us to someone else, and someone else introduce us to someone else, just things like that, until eventually we met someone that can help, and then we got the permission. And I think it took like more than 3 months until we get the permission. So we got the permission to do shooting in 4 prisons, 2 in Jakarta and 2 in Bandung.
And then just pulling back a little bit and thinking about children's rights and the welfare of these children, what do you want US government, US policymakers, Southeast Asian governments, Southeast Asian policymakers, what do you think they need to be aware of? What could make things better for children in these conditions?
Yeah, so that's also our question. Actually, we make this film is not to offer solution. So we make the film so this film can be used to be an information, new information from everybody, for society, for government, especially Indonesian government, that these children are exist and they need attention from us. And through in this film, we saw the real condition of these children and their mothers. So we are not in the position on saying like this is the solution, this is the solution, because this is a big problem, you know, and it doesn't enough only one person or one institution that needs to make a solution happen. So all so many parties has to collaborate to find the solution, because it's very complex. It's not only about there is children being born and raised behind bars and then they are not supposed to be in there. It's not that simple. That's what we thought when we start this project. But during the way, when we start the shooting, we found out that why this pregnant mom got arrested while they're pregnant. Why their case mostly drugs, using drugs, selling drugs, you know, why most of them came from poor family and from low education, and then why from government in the prison there is no special budget, special attention for them, and they have to work or depending on the money from their family outside the prison to buy better food, you know, so things like that. And then why these children have to live in a very small cell, this pregnant mom also like in the small cell, and it's really not proper for a pregnant mom, for especially for children. So this is very complex. And then also why their family outside prison is not willing to raise these children outside prisons, or why they are not able, you know, because many of them are from poor families. So it's very complex. And that's why we are not giving solution through this film, but through this film, we would like to agitate people who saw the film, so that after they see the film, it will move them to do something for these children and pregnant mom.
You made a really good point in that answer. And I just want to add to that, the role of a storyteller, an artist, documentarian, is not always to have a solution to every problem. Sometimes it's simply to tell the story that there is this problem that needs to be addressed, because this is not a topic that most people think about regularly. And as you said, until you heard about this, you never thought about it. You didn't know it was a problem that existed. And so your documentary serves the purpose to say, we need to start this conversation, or at least continue this conversation. So I applaud you for making the film, even though you don't have everything figured out, and that's okay, because you're just being one part of a larger conversation. We do have a comment from our audience, and this is from Sarah, who said, I feel sad seeing that movie, the trailer, but thank you for making your documentary. So when you made this story, how did you want to make people feel? What was your goal in terms of, like, what do you want people to feel when they leave the theater and they've seen your movie?
Yeah, like I just told, we want to move them to do something once they see the film, and we want them to think, what can we do to improve, to help this pregnant mom and these children behind bars? Because it's not only the responsibility of government, but also society have to take part. So yes, it's you can say many people said once they saw the film they cry, to see the condition, and they said it gives them new insight. Oh, this is what happening behind prisons. Before Jason, many people told me like this, why are you making film about bad people, about these inmates? Why are you defending bad people? And I said, okay, actually not all people behind bars is bad. Sometimes they are also victim, but okay, let's say they are bad. But I said, don't look these moms, but look who are inside their womb. There is a child that need our attention. There is a child that need to be safe. That's the future of our nation, and these children has the same rights like all other children out there. So I always say we have to see these children. Not if you don't want to see the mother, see the children. So what we want is for them to move them to do something, whatever it is. Maybe only just like after seeing the film, maybe it moved them like to make them more care to their own children. So many comments to us that say, oh, after I see the film and then I go home and then I hug my child, so even though it's only their own child, so we want to move them. And actually, Jason, during the editing, this is one of the biggest challenge of how to make this film not so stressful, because the condition inside the prison is very heavy. But we don't want people after watch the film, they got depressed, they are so sad. We would like for them to be empathy, to do something, but not to be so stressed. So this is also one of the biggest challenges during the editing. How we make this very complex problem to be accessible for a cinema audience. So because all what happen every day inside prison is all sad, heavy. So we try our best to make it not so stressful for the audience.
Well, perhaps that's the reason that you selected your title, Invisible Hopes, a hopeful message, something positive. So how did you select your title for your film?
Oh, uh, during the research, we found out that these children is invisible victims. So because this is an adult prisons, and what we found out was during the research when we asked activists or organization that concern in women and children rights. So when they concern in women rights, they kind of say like, oh, when we are go to prisons, we only dealing with adult, only the mother. And then the children rights activists would say we went to prison, to children prison. They didn't go to adult prison. And then these children is placed in an adult prison, right? And these children become a victim because what happened to their mothers. It's not because what they did, right? It's just because they born from their inmate mother, so they are become invisible victims behind bars. So we think what the title, and if we make invisible victim, it sounds so depressed. Right? Like, oh, it's too depressed. Like, we want this film to bring something, to encourage people to do something. So maybe, so there will be a hope. So from invisible victims, we would like to give them hope. So that's why we make invisible hopes.
Mhm. It's about creating that balance, raising awareness, but encouraging people to do something about these causes that you care about. So now that you've completed this film, you're in the middle of publicizing this film, trying to get more awareness, get more people to watch the film. But have you already started thinking about your next project?
Yes. But right now our main goals is for impact campaign. We would like to show the film to as many as people, but the challenge is we don't have money to promote the film. So we are in the stage looking for funding so that we can show the film to like community, to campus, to government. It's need cost, right? So we are trying to look for funding so we can do impact campaign. And also during the making of Invisible Hopes, we found out that once these children leave prisons, the problem is not over. Their life is almost the same like in prison. Only the difference is they are not behind bars anymore. So they back to their poor family. Sometimes their family doesn't care about these children. And then right now we help some children to provide for their food, things like that. So we gather donation from some friends or from public, so we help them. So we felt that also life of these children after prison life is also very important to tell the society. So we are now in research to do the second film about these children after prison life.
Mhm. Well, you are an angel for these young people.
No,
Really
I'm not.
for them, really looking out for them and doing your part. And that community building and advocacy is always about everyone doing a small piece. We can't solve all the problems of the world by ourselves. We each can just contribute to the conversation and do our part. So you've traveled a lot in Indonesia for this program. Have you had the opportunity to travel to other Southeast Asian countries?
Not yet. Only once, which is for American Film Showcase.
Mhm.
It was to Laos for
Mhm.
the workshop. So that's all.
Well, I
Maybe
strongly
maybe
encourage.
maybe U.S. Mission to ASEAN would like to invite me for some mentoring or workshop. It would be great if they can send me like on a workshop to Los Angeles, to Hollywood.
Well, we'll stay in contact about that. If you could go to the United States, is Hollywood at the top of the list?
Yes, exactly. Los Angeles.
Who are some either documentarians or directors, US directors, who you respect right now?
That's an interesting question. The problem is I watch too many films to the point I don't even remember what the title, who is the director. So if you ask me who is my role model, no one. But I watch so many film. I watch so many film.
What kinds of films do you enjoy watching? All kinds, or do you have a favorite?
Yeah, before I'm involved in documentary, I really love action movie, but now I don't like it anymore. I really love documentary. It is very interesting when in documentary you involve with real people, with real feelings, and when we connect with them, it's very special for me. Different with fiction. When I'm making fiction, they all actor, who act, and it's not real. And the only real relationship you have making fiction film with the crew. But with documentary, it's very different. For example, it's very hard for us to approach to get the trust from this pregnant mom during early the shooting in prisons. And it's interesting. It's a challenge, but eventually we approach them and then we got trust for them. And it is very interesting. Eventually they can open up to us, even with the very secret of their life.
You're absolutely right. When I'm watching a documentary, I know it's real. So when I'm invested in the character, I really want to know what happens to that individual, because this is a real human being and not just the fantasy of a scriptwriter or director. So yes, it adds an additional element to the movie watching experience. So unfortunately, we're almost at the end of the show. So I would just like to end asking you if you have any tips or recommendations for other Southeast Asians or Indonesians in particular who are interested in making films. How do you think they should get started? You mentioned your story, and that was a good example. Any other tips for people in that situation?
Okay. Before I answer that one, can I also mention, because in every screening and in every talk, so we always mention our call for action. Can I mention it?
Absolutely.
Yes. So please, for people who watch this, anyone, in every screening we always ask the audience the first thing we can do to help solve this problem. As a common people, we don't need to have much money. You don't have to be a government officer, but the very smallest thing that we can do is, if you know anyone, children who was born behind bars, or children is not behind bars but their mothers behind bars, please don't stigmatize, because Jason, in Indonesia, it's very bad, the stigma for these children. So please don't. The first call for action we hope from people who watch this, please don't stigmatize, but help them, please. And secondly, if you have time, please go to nearby prisons. Please go to nearby prison if you know, and ask them, is there any pregnant mom or children? And if you found any, please try to help them. The smallest thing you do is maybe help them provide for their diapers, for their meal, for their food, for their clothes. If you don't know how to help them, you can contact us, then we can figure out what we can do to help them. And one thing you need to know, that it's not only in female prisons, because in Indonesia, some prisons also still the same. female and male prisons. So sometimes you will find pregnant inmates in the male prisons. So please, that's the second thing, our call for action. And thirdly, of course, and the most biggest call for action we would like is, please, for government, do something. Please, we beg you. We know government already did so many things for them, but we need to do more. So that's our call for action. So we really hope, Jason, through this film, something will happen. Something better will happen through this pregnant mom and these children behind bars. And your question, I think to start, that's kind of big question actually, how they will start.
One tip for our audience. One tip for our audience.
Yeah, one tip, don't give up. That's all, don't give up. Filmmaking is a very hard work. And don't go to filmmaking if you think you will get rich, you will get famous. It's a very hard work. So don't give up. If it's your dreams to make film, just don't give up. You will meet any kind of challenge. Just don't give up. There is not only one way to start. You will find during on the way what is the best way to start, but just don't give up.
Yeah, that is such excellent advice for any dream that someone has, to not give up, to keep working at it, make some sacrifices, make it happen. And I just wanted to share one additional thing for our audience, and then we'll have to end. What you were saying about the awful stigma, it made me remember when I was part of a volunteer program for adolescents who were in jail, and it was a literacy program, and we were going there to help them learn how to read, because many of them had dropped out of school early. And I remember I was tutoring a gentleman who really, really wanted to get out of jail and never go back. But he was worried because he didn't have enough job skills to make something of his life, to change the trajectory of his life. So everyone who's in prison has a story. So we have to be very, very careful about judging people when we don't know the whole story. So give people a chance. So lots of tips today. What a fantastic, amazing conversation. We're gonna have to close it there. Thank you so much for all your advice.
Thank you so much, Jason, for having us. Oh, looks like Jason disconnected.
Hello, Lamtiar. Could you please wait for a moment? Jason will be here shortly.
Okay.
Are we still recording?
Yes, we're still live.
So maybe if we are still live while waiting for Jason, maybe I can.
So,
oh, there you are.
So sorry. Wi-Fi problems hit everyone, tech issues, everyone. We were wrapping up the show and then of course lose the tech. I'm so glad it lasted the whole show and only fell apart at the very ending. So thank you so much for joining us, TR. We're gonna say goodbye to you, our lovely audience. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Wow, did I enjoy talking to TR. So thank you so much for joining us, and until the next time.
Yes, thank you. Bye.